So I want to talk a little bit about cryptocurrency. Um, I've been into crypto since the first time I heard about it in 2011. But back then I couldn't even buy a single one unless I knew how to program or if I was particularly tech savvy. Now it's easy to buy. And then I first purchased I made my first crypto purchase in 2015. It was the summer of 2015, and I bought Bitcoin. I bought it for the first time. And I think that it belongs in pretty much everyone's portfolio nowadays. Unfortunately, the old school ways of thinking, where if you have some great investors that don't quite understand it, and you have some great investors that do understand it. But basically, that old school way of thinking, that pathetic old school approach of just staying with what you know, and not expanding your knowledge, or being able to kind of get out of your domain and see that there's other things out there. That doesn't work in this time anymore. The time is too dynamic that we're in, and you can't be required to understand every single thing before you get into something. You're a fucking idiot if you need that. So if you are gonna go buy a stock, if you're gonna go buy Ford, and you need to understand how their computers work, and how their systems work, and how their HR system is, and how their sales system is, and what are they using? Just stupid details about what they're using, what the people are using. Or maybe you don't even need that. Maybe you don't care about that. Maybe you care about their break room policy in their factories, or all the things that you could care about. I can make a list of a million items about the potential things that you have no idea, that you don't know about at all. But you're still investing in Ford because you don't care about those things. Those aren't the things that make it that are critical to your decision. And there is an inherent acceptance of uncertainty, just an inherent understanding of a normal person, that the world is uncertain, and you don't need to have full certainty to make certain moves. Although you need to have some certainty, some. You need to know certain things about Ford. Where if you came to me and said, "Hey, I don't know about their break room policy," I would say, "Okay, who cares? What the hell are you talking about?" But if you came to me and you said, "I don't know what their profit was last year," I'd say, "You're pure speculator. You're purely speculating here. You really are going into a risky place." In the same thing with crypto, if you say, "I don't know how the blockchain works," well, okay, so you don't know how the blockchain works, and because of that, you're not gonna buy crypto. Good, don't buy it, and then we'll see where you are in 5 years. We'll see where you are in 10 years. Do you think you'll be in a better place? Do you think you'll be in a better place if you avoid buying it and somehow say, "Oh, I'm such a conservative investor," or you're so proud to be so conservative that you don't buy things you don't know? Do you think you'll be in a better off place? Would you be in a better off place today if you had made that decision 5 years ago? So there has to be an attenuation of all our stupid, kind of emotional, weird, crazy thoughts. Because most of the time, all your thoughts, whether they're about investing, whether they're about family, whatever they're about, whether they're about work, whether they're about leisure, all your thoughts are just coming from your mind, your brain. They're just produced from your brain, and your brain was created at a particular time and place. And so your thoughts are gonna be very, very influenced by the way your brain was molded and created in that particular time and place. And so if there was no internet in that time and place, you're gonna have a very difficult time understanding, or not even understanding, having the right faith, almost faith needed to make a move forward without understanding everything about it. You don't need to understand everything about it necessarily. That's true in stocks. The best stock investors don't understand everything about the companies that they're investing in. There's a certain opaqueness to everything in the world, to all companies, to all things. There's an opaqueness. And so you can't just say, "Oh, I need to know everything about every single aspect of this particular thing, or I'm not going to do it." You could do that, but you're only going to hurt yourself. You're only going to hurt yourself and your own family. What you need to do is you need to develop an understanding of what's not okay, and what's okay in terms of knowledge. Where if you're buying Ford, you have to know, I need to know the profit, and if I don't know that, that's foolish. But do I need to know their break room policy? No, I don't need to know that. You need to know the difference between the two. So, and whatever you're investing in, whether it be a bond, an ETF, a mutual fund, real estate, gold, silver, jewelry, a business, anything you're doing, you need to be able to differentiate and put knowledge into two buckets. One bucket being the things that are important for you to know, and the other, the things that are not that important for you to know. And if you can't differentiate. If the things that are important for you to know, you keep tossing into the not important bucket, you're gonna fuck yourself over. And if you keep taking things from the irrelevant bucket and putting it in the important things to know bucket in your own life, you're just gonna be paralyzed, and you're not gonna be moving forward. You're just gonna be seeking useless information, useless knowledge, procrastinating. It's just not gonna be a healthy thing to do. You need to be able to bucket them appropriately, but that's very, very difficult to do, to bucket them appropriately. Most people can't do it. Most people fuck up. They either overanalyze on one thing too much, or they go in with way too much faith, way too much confidence, and they don't know the most important basic things they should know. So that's kind of a preface for crypto overall, meaning don't sit there and just fetishize understanding everything there is before you make a move. Focus instead on developing your intuition so that you can bucket appropriately, so you could bucket knowledge appropriately for the rest of your investing life and the rest of your life period. That's what you need to do. Because in 10 years, if you don't know how to bucket knowledge properly, you're going to be in the same place. You're going to be confused, same place. But if you do know how to bucket knowledge, you're going to slowly make decisions that are smart and prudent and that lead you to where you want to go. So be careful. Be careful in assuming that you know anything, because you don't know shit. But also be careful in being paralyzed or not moving until you know enough, because that's a risk as well. Because there's a risk of losing money, which is a very severe and real risk, but there's also a risk of being left behind, being left in the backwash, the backwater whenever one moves forward. And the people that are just focused on what they know, the particulars of where they grew up, the time and place and education they had when they grew up, and the kind of approaches and ways of thinking and neural networks that were built in that time and place, for people that grew up in that time and place, if they're just fetishizing those and they can't almost have the courage to move forward and have a little uncertainty in their lives, if they can't do that, they're just going to be left behind, unfortunately. And the same is true with cryptocurrencies. The same is true. When I bought my first crypto in 2015, I barely knew anything about crypto. Even today, I truly barely know anything about crypto. Now, when you talk to people and they pretend they know something about crypto, that's gonna happen. You're gonna have people on YouTube. You're gonna have people on YouTube. You're gonna have people in life that act like they know stuff about crypto. They pretend like they do. So they spew like buzzwords or stupid keywords, things that I can spew also, like blockchain, cryptography, the idea of the concept of permissionless, the concept of no third party risk, the actual mathematics behind it, the actual cryptographic mathematics, and then the entire aspect of mining, which is proof of work, and then the move towards proof of stake. You could read a Wikipedia article and talk about all that. That's fine. But is that really going to get you to... I mean, you should do that. You should do that. But is that really going to get you to where you need to go? It won't. It won't, unfortunately. Now, educating yourself is always useful. But when the problem is that it's when the problem is not a lack of knowledge, but a lack of faith, it's going to be very hard to overcome. It's going to be very hard to overcome. And faith is required everywhere. Even if you invest in Ford, if you invest in ETF, if you invest in the Dow Jones, everything. Faith is required everywhere. So if you're buying gold, if you're buying silver, crypto, real estate, if you're opening up businesses, there's always faith and there are always assumptions. You just don't know it. But there's always faith and there's always assumptions. And the same thing is true with crypto. That's why it's easy for people like me to buy crypto, because I don't need all the underlying knowledge. Just like I could buy Ford as a stock and I don't need to know their break room policy. In the same way, I can buy Bitcoin and I don't need to know all the particulars. I just don't need to. Does that expose me to greater risk? Yeah. If I knew Ford's break room policy in some small way, would that be better? Yeah, of course. It's not like it's going to be worse. What's the worst case? That is neutral, right? Say I learned Ford's break room policy, that little minute piece of information. Will it make me a better investor? No, probably not, but it's not going to hurt. But maybe it'll make me a tiny bit of a better, the tiniest sliver. Let's take it to the limit. In the same way, the more I learn about crypto, the better investor I am with crypto. But the benefit is very little once you get that basic knowledge base. So if I take a room of all the people that are all the people that are in talking about crypto, and I say, okay, these guys are the hyper like bullish people. They're bullish. They're into crypto. They're crypto bulls, and these guys are intense crypto bears, or more likely they're anti crypto because they don't understand. Not bears. Forget the bears concept. So this group is bulls, and this group that says we don't know enough, so we're not investing in it yet. I bet you both of those groups, this is a key realization here. Both of those groups, on average, are going to have the same knowledge about crypto. It's not going to be the case that the bulls somehow know more, right? Yes, some of them may know more, but not most. Not most. And in fact, some of the anti-crypto people may know more than some of the idiot bulls who are just opening Robinhood accounts, don't know anything about the world, and they're just tossing money onto random cryptos that they don't know anything about. Those people, those crazy, foolish, overboard people who are just way too confident, have way too much faith, they're in that bull camp. And then also you have Wences Casares in that bull camp. Okay, you have Wences there, who is a crypto, just an incredibly knowledgeable person on crypto, and whose intense bullishness is founded in an intense amount of knowledge and work. But most of the time, you're not going to have that. You're going to have people like me who just know a little bit, who are middling in terms of their knowledge with crypto. And you'll have the same in the other group. So, what differentiates them? Why is this one group so bullish and the other group is not bullish at all? Why? It's not because of their knowledge. It's because of their faith. It's because of their faith. It's because of their underlying assumptions. So, a lot of the way we think in investing is not even up to us. There is no free will, and there's especially no free will with investing. So it's not even up to us in one sense. So yeah, I don't even know why I made this video. Basically, it's not up to us at all. Investing is not up to us at all, and no actions we take are up to us at all. So when you think about that, it should put things into perspective for you from a mindful investor's point of view. An investor who is not too in love with his thoughts and his thinking and himself, and who can kind of who's okay with just acknowledging things as they really are. So it's not that big of a deal. So in terms of crypto, don't don't get scared when seemingly knowledgeable investors who are pros, who made money in the old way, in the old method, are now bagging on this new thing that's happening. Um, so yeah, that's that.